Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for a bookish update for you guys. So, first of all, I finished Anna Karenina for the first book of April. So, I was very much enjoyed that, and I literally just filmed a review. I'm very apprehensive about that review. I hope it goes well. I hope, because I think it's tricky when you are reviewing a classic that is well beloved, and I did love the book. It's one of my favorites, I would have to say. But I think also, even if you're very complimentary of the book and love it, like, I think if you're not like one of those literary where you could analyze everything and you understand every little thing, and where it's not just purely emotional based but an intellectual review, then my review was very emotional based, and very much talking about mostly about the characters and everything. And I'm just worried it will, I'm very nervous about how, but those are my honest feelings about the book, and I don't pretend to be an intellectual, I just enjoy reading these classic books, and I think you should be able to read them, enjoy them, and talk about them without it being like, oh, you're not smart enough to read that book, or you're not talking about this, you should go more deep dive and stuff like that. I mean, there are booktubers who will do that and probably make better reviews than I do. And some of them are my favorites. But yeah, I'm kind of nervous about that. I hope that review does well. I just wanted to go ahead and do that because, like I said, I want this to kind of lean towards a more reviewing channel, because it's just very frustrating trying to get creative, and I'm not one of those people who does things like, make up skits and stuff like that, or jump around and get all excited, and and I don't even have like a TBR game like a lot of people have made. So I just do reviews and tags and then do these bookish updates. So I just hope my reviews are good. But as of right now, I did DNF. I did finish Secret Garden, which is really great. I don't know if I'll do a review of that one or not. I might. But that one was I really enjoyed reading that book for the first time. And I noticed that throughout the book that there was a lot of lines that have been taken from the book and put into the movie adaptation that I have seen. So I was very happy with that. Like, they were very close, almost word for word, of the dialogue in the movie adaptation. There's like three. The third one, I don't know what's going on. Did it already come out? It just isn't as well known, isn't as talked about. It's one, I know that Colin Firth was in it as the uncle. I don't even know if it got made or not, but I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was great reading it. It's definitely a perfect book for springtime. Great book for, to read to the girl's little niece or granddaughter, or, the little girls in your life, or give it to them to read themselves when they're old enough. Apparently I'm not a good judge about that, because there were books that I wanted to get my niece, Charlie, but then I realized, she's only 3. When I was at Black Castle Books, talking to the saleswoman there, and she was she was telling my dad how The Last Unicorn, because he came in, it was her favorite book, still her favorite book, and I was like, oh, I wanted to get that for my niece. And then it's like, she probably was thinking, when I told her she was 2, she was like, probably thinking, really? Then she must be a genius or something if she can read that, because it's a very dark story, and it's a novel, So I don't know. I was thinking, my first thought was, oh, unicorns. Thinking it's a kid's story, and like, it's not. I mean, it is, but it has it gets very dark in one. There's some adult humor. There's some adult content in there. Not like inappropriate, but just stuff that I think you appreciate more as an adult, or at least the movie adaptation did that. But anyway, But Secret Garden was so great and such a fun story, so warm and cozy, Of course, in the adaptation, I saw the one from Warner Brothers with Maggie Smith as Miss Medlock, which I was surprised that Miss Medlock isn't. She's a little bit meaner in that story, in the movie, than the book. But anyway, it was really great to read that for the first time. I did DNF already 2 books. One was one that I should have known better. I should have known that this would not be the book for me. And that is The Origin of the Species by Charles Darwin. I am not a science person. I'm an English and literature person. I mean, I'm a literature and history person. I'm not a science person. I just was like, oh, I'm going to try it. I might love this. Or at least like it and find it fascinating. Then I started reading it, and it's so long-winded and so much information crammed in there that I don't understand at all. And it's easy to read. Like, as long as you've read enough Victorian literature, because that's what it is. It was written in Victorian times. And he's very eloquently spoken and very well thought out, because it's a theory of evolution, so it's not an actual, based on actual facts and stuff. It's just his observations and his studies and all that, and his theories on things. And it's still very popular today. I mean, people still refer to his theory of evolution, and even people use the whole survival of the fittest phrase all the time. Even when they're not talking about science, they're talking about just people in social circles. And I also did not know that he was having a very crisis of faith. It was very much about that. And I wonder if there are other scientists that have run into this problem. But yeah, I feel bad for saying it, but I just had to do enough. It was kind of boring. I just couldn't get into it. I think it's more for people that are into the subject matter, that are scientists themselves, or just are really passionate about it, even if they're not scientists. It's something that intrigues them. Yeah, so I DNF'd that one. Surprise, surprise. And then the other one was actually from a genre I do love. That is The Moonit's Night by C.J. Piper. And this was one of those situations where I kind of got a hint that this had some issues, but I avoided the content that talked about it and criticized the book because I wanted to see for myself and read some of it to decide if maybe I'll enjoy it. It wasn't terrible, but it has some things that made me uncomfortable. First of all, it's a plot about these 2 girls, Nox and Amaris, and they grow up in an orphanage, and Amaris is practically albino, as she's described. Everything about her is white. Her skin, her hair, she's completely white. And meanwhile, this other girl, the girl is kind of taking care of her when she's born, is Nox, and she is described as a black girl. And they are growing up in an orphanage that sells these girls. And Amaris, the women that run this orphanage are like, oh, we cannot sell her to anyone else. We have to make sure whoever we sell her to is very, very rich. She is worth a lot. Because you find out she is half Fae. And so they, Nox kind of has to take care of her and protect her from whenever people come to visit. And so they won't see her until someone that is very rich comes. And this woman who works the brothel shows up, and she's the rich enough person to claim the girl, Amaris, which is the last thing Amaris wants. So she scars herself and runs away with this strange man, an assassin who had shown up the night before needing shelter. And she runs away with him, becomes an assassin. Meanwhile, Nox, when the woman who runs the brothel is pissed off, and Nox she decides, well, I will use this other girl, Nox, to compensate. So Nox gets told to take to the brothel. So, yeah. there were some things that made me kind of uncomfortable. And things that were brought to my attention that I gotta admit I didn't think about until watching Little Bit Mads' video about it. Which is a great video, a very deep dive video, you know. She does these rant reviews that are really funny where she will read the book so you don't have to. And she's not the only, there are other booktubers that also will do this. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole looking at reviews of this book. The writing, the story had potential if you change some things and get rid of some stuff a little bit, like tweak it a little bit and send the book to an editor so they can point out that, okay, these things do not need to be in here, you need to change some things. Yeah, so the premise, you know, they need to tweak it a lot, and the writing, you know, like Little Bit Mads, I'm a fan of purple prose to an extent, but this one needed an editor in that sense as well. It was a very long-winded, you know, and I'm a fan of Dickens. I like Dickens', you know, his writing style, which can be very long to the point where it seems like he's writing a run-on sentence, but he knows how to write and make it look like it makes sense and not be so long-winded and flowery that it's like, what the heck? Like, this book, I mean, I got as far as chapter 16 because I was curious, but then after a while, I just didn't feel inspired to pick it up. I was more interested in the other books I was reading. So it was just, and then Little Bit Mads' video really confirmed that this is not a good book. And then I know, you know, and it brought to my attention that, I don't know what it is, but it feels like a lot of book talk books, people find reasons to talk about them and point and critique them and realize and they end up having a lot of issues or a lot of faults and stuff, and just, I mean, like what you like, and it's just their opinion. I don't have to listen to it if I don't want to. But it's not like, a lot of Little Bit Mads' videos are not like, you know, this book is terrible, I hate it, everyone else should hate it. It's more, her videos are really thought out and very entertaining, yes. But she gives us examples and reads it to you and kind of like, you know, and you can tell, you know, hearing the way she reads it, you don't even have to, like, you kind of figure, its faults. Some of them are very obvious. So it's, I mean, and like she said, if you love this and find it still a great book, that's great, you know? But for me, it was just not, and I just decided to walk away from it, you know? The only reason I decided to pursue it is because I paid full price at Books A Million. So I was like, oh, I need to get this book a chance. You know, I need to go ahead and read it because I paid full price for it. So I feel like I owe that, you know, for the money I spent on it, and then to be disappointed with it. So that was a little hard to take, but at least I tried to read. I read some of it. And I realized I'm not going to continue because, you know, since it's kind of, the author kind of self-published it, or, you know, more independently published it, so all the next two books have come out really quickly. But yeah, those are the only DNFs I've had, which is good. I don't think I had any DNFs in the first quarter. I think I read everything. I think so. I don't recall DNFing anything. So that's a good sign. Those are the only two DNFs. Hopefully that will continue and I won't have any more, or at least only like maybe one or two more DNFs. Okay, so I did come back to Kate Morton's The Distant Hours, and I love her books. I don't know why it takes me so long to reread them. I always enjoy my reading of them. The beautiful description, they're always so warm and cozy. They're kind of a cozy mystery type story, but without a detective necessarily as the, or I should say without a detective as the main character, because I think some of her books do have detectives in them, but they're not the main character, usually. I'm trying to think, I'm not sure. I think there might be I don't think any of the main characters are detectives at all in any of her books. But this is very, first talks about, the castles of England. There's a castle there, and that I wish I could explore that castle the way she describes it. I would love to go there and look at it. I mean, I don't know if there's a castle that was inspired her to write this book. I think that would be really cool. And actually, I'm going to England sometime this year, hopefully, in September. So I would love to, I should look that up and see if she will look, because I know she has a website. So look up and see if any of the locations she talks about in her books are inspired by actual locations. And maybe I can find them, because her books take place often in England, but sometimes they take place in Australia too. And the Forgotten Garden half took place in Australia, and I think the Lake House also took place in Australia partly. But yeah, I would love to look up, see if any of these locations in her books that take place in England really were inspired by an actual place, and I would love to see it. But yeah, her it's so beautiful the way she writes. It's not super flowery, but it's very cozy and comforting, and you really can get lost in her stories. And you just, even though I know I've already read them, it's been so long since I read them, it feels like the mystery is all new to me, and now the Forgotten Garden I've read enough time. I read two other times that I know, and I'm going to read it again in May, that I know what's going to happen. I remember it a lot better than this one, while these other ones I don't remember that well. Now, she just came out with Homecoming. I want to wait until it comes out on paperback, but if I see it in England, in the UK, when we go, I might get it then. Because I think in England, the paperbacks come out first before the hardbacks, which I'm gonna find out if that's more expensive than the hardbacks. I'll have to check. I mean, probably not, though, now that I think about it, because, what makes them hardbacks so much more, cost more, is because of the binding and everything. And, you gotta make the dust jacket and all that. It's a lot more, and sometimes, which I know that's why they don't always design they don't always put something on the hardback. I get that, because it's expensive, but it's always a nice surprise to actually see one that you can actually see, and not some little thing that blends into the red or the black encasing. So I do appreciate that I really do appreciate that when they do that, but I can kind of understand if they don't, because I imagine it does cost more, especially if you do those really fancy special editions that come in those book subscription boxes like Fairy Loot. But yeah, and also she just makes such intriguing characters. Like the three Blythe sisters, they're also very different and fascinating. Especially, obviously Juniper, but then you have the character, the older sister, Sapphy. Sapphy's the middle one. Persephone, who reminds me actually of Amarilla a little bit from Anne of Green Gables. Like I said, technically I'm talking about the show, because of course I'm never in the miniseries, because I've never read the book yet, but I'm going to change that in May. But yeah, this was really but it's so great to spend time with these characters again, and it's also, she does a lot of focus on mothers and daughters in her books. There's a lot of those kinds of plot lines, which makes sense. I feel like female authors would do that, be more prone to write about mothers and daughters, while male authors would be more into writing fathers and sons, because it's easier for them to comprehend and understand and appreciate. But so yeah, I wish her books she would get her books adapted. I don't know, maybe she doesn't trust Hollywood, or is not prone to, doesn't want to sell the rights to her books. But I would love to see these for the big screen. It would be so great. Or maybe she does, and it's just really hard to get someone to want to turn her books into movies. I don't know, but I would love to see that. I think it would be great. It would be so much fun to see her books become movies. I would see the heck out of those. But yeah, so I'm almost done with it. As the mystery is slowly unfolding, and every time that there's a book within it called The Mudman, that I would love to read that if it existed, You know, like a lot of people talked about how, you know, with books like J.D. Jones and the Six and Evelyn Hugo, like for Evelyn Hugo, it was all about people got so into the story that they wanted to see the movies, and then they forgot the movies weren't real. And then the same thing with J.D. Jones and the Six, that people loved the music and the songs, and the same, and the same thing with what is that book I read last year? Can't think of what it's called. Mary Jane. That was one also that had music, which I would love to see that adapted too. Mary Jane, that'd be a great movie. Probably have to be rated R though. but I love when authors do that, where they write about an artist, and they make the work so intriguing that you want to actually hear it or see it, or in this case read it. Like, I like how I'm definitely interested in the Mudman, its story and everything. I would love to read it. And then also, that's the same thing happened with the 13th Tale, with the story, the fairy tales. I would love to read that woman's Vida Winter's fairy tale collection. But yeah, this is really good. I'm gonna read some more in a couple hours because I'm gonna go to bed. Because today has been kind of a crappy day. Like, did not feel all that great at work today, so I ended up only working for like 2 hours at work because I was not feeling good. So definitely feeling a lot better, and at least better enough to make film for you guys. So hopefully it will stay that way. And I am drinking cranberry Sprite, so that should help. That usually. But anyway, so Mom on the other hand is still not feeling great herself, so hopefully she will be feeling better too. But I don't know. She was feeling really crappy again, to the point of where she was debating about eating. I also started A Darkness of Sephiroth. This is the fourth and final book in the Rift Wars saga. Now, like I said before, there are other books I think that the author has written, but I don't know if I'll read those or not. But maybe in the future. But anyway, this was so far it's really intriguing. And I'm worried because now my favorite character, something happened to my favorite character, one of my favorite character in the story so far, which is not good. It was like, but anyway, yes, I was very worried about them. Now, Pug has not made an appearance, but all the other characters from before have, so I'm hoping that Pug will return, because I do really like his character, so I hope he comes back and I need his help. But yeah, we don't know. I've only gotten to chapter 4, so I don't know what's going on, but Prince Ruth, assassins have been sent to the same assassins that were mentioned in the third book, have come back again, are trying to kill him. And Jimmy's the only one who can catch them and potentially stop them, or at least he knows their moves and stuff. So, sorry, I was looking at the list of how many books it's written. But, and now the next chapter will be about Thomas, who was turned to an elf, became an elf because he was kind of possessed by one, the spirit of one, so he suddenly becomes one. So we're back with his character. He's definitely intriguing because he starts out one way and then all of a sudden he really goes through this transformation in book 2. In book 2 of the series, and going into book, and he deals with quite a bit in the book 3. He very much is struggling with something in book 3. Although they cleared it up quite quickly, which I was a little disappointed with, but in book 3. But anyway, so far it's very interesting. I definitely want to know what the deal is with these guys and these assassins, and something's going on. This mysterious wind has swept through, and everybody has reacted to it. But yeah, so there's definitely some mystery and a lot of setup. So, I mean, again, I only got through book 4 for chapter 4, but I'm trying to finish this one first, and then get back to this one. Now, I did start reading The Last Kingdom again, but I didn't get very far, so I don't have a lot to say. I'm still in the prologue, because apparently the prologue is really long. where the main character is, you know, his brother has just died, and he now has to take his brother's place. And, he's watching his father prepare for battle, and he admires his father and is doing the best he can, to please him, to live up to his, but like I said, I'm not a boy, obviously, but this is the way a father, in these stories, the way a father will treat a son is just, I think they can be a little harsh on the kid, because they're still a kid, but I guess it does toughen you up in this warrior race. It makes you hard and strong when your father is hard on you. But it always baffles me in these kind of stories when you see that father being really tough and hard on his kid. But anyway, so like I said, I don't have a lot to say. But once I finish The Distant Hours, I can pick it up, and then I also have The Hobbit, and then hopefully by the end of the month I'll start. Although Vanity Fair might not come until May, because I only start in May because we will be taking, because it's a long book, and I still want to read The Hobbit and The Last Kingdom as well. But anyway, so at least the good thing about coming home early from work is that I got to do a little bit more reading today, because I ended up, I didn't even make it through I only was like I said, only got there 2 hours of work before I was like running to the bathroom to puke my guts out. Although nothing came out. Like, it was more like I was gagging. But yeah, hopefully I'm feeling better, and that tomorrow I won't start feeling queasy again. Who knows? But like I said, I am drinking Sprite, cranberry Sprite, so that should help. But I didn't eat something. I actually ate the leftover pancakes that we had. So that, hopefully that helps. And like I said, I think my mom is doing worse than I am right now. I think she's definitely a lot, feeling a lot worse than me. So hopefully she'll get better. But yeah, it's been a rough year so far as health goes, the past couple years. But I guess that happens when you get into your 30s. But anyway, so I will talk to you guys. So I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Click subscribe if you want to see more from me. And click the bell icon if you want to be notified about my latest videos. I hope you're enjoying your reading so far this year, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.